Hi, and welcome back to Animal Justice Emergency. And I'm Pamela, and today we'll be talking about this. I don't know if you can read it or if it's reversed, but what it says is now recruiting at West butchers, abattoir workers, packing days. So this dropped through my door the other day, and I thought I'd just do a little bit of a deconstruction about what the ad says and what's really happening. So, this is Pamela from Animal Justice Emergency. Please remember to like and subscribe even if you like this and want to see more. We've got some really exciting stuff coming up, some really bit challenging but fun, I think. Anyway, so I just thought this was a kind of really extraordinary little piece of image management. So, first of all, now recruiting at Westerly. Ooh, so who's this aimed at? This is going to be aimed at, happy, smiling faces. They made sure they got a woman in there, a bloke, a couple of people that don't look very happy. Well, that's quite sort of really good, really, isn't it? Because who would be happy, sort of like chopping up animals into bits, having been in the same place where they've been tortured to death? I wouldn't. But they've obviously tried to make it look like a really sort of like, hey, this is so great sort of like thing. They've named the place Westerly, which is a little village near Bristol where the slaughterhouse is, but they haven't said now recruiting slaughterhouse workers, which gives you a bit of a clue about hmm, that's where they're coming from. Let's hide as much as possible and really go for people who are absolutely bloody desperate. Because let's face it, unless you're desperate, you're not going to be going to even contemplate working in a slaughterhouse, even though they try and sort of make it sound like it's really sort of quite a nice thing. Butchers, i.e., people that specialise in chopping up and dismembering animal body parts, starting at £10 an hour for unskilled, rising to £16 an hour with experience. And then they say abattoir workers. Abattoir workers, eh? Excuse me, that's not abattoir workers, that's slaughterhouse workers. Slaughterhouse. Notice the image management here, starting at £10 an hour and rising, if you can stick it basically, to £14 an hour if you've so monged yourself out with drink and drugs and goodness knows what else, or you're so desperate, so you become a bit experienced, and then you can actually struggle and on and hack it. Packing days from £9.70 an hour. Wow. Packing evenings from £10 an hour. Now, that is just absolutely incredible to me. So, this is actually, although it says Pilgrims UK, it's actually Tulip is the entity, the Tulip Slaughterhouse, which many people from the Saves will know. But it's been bought up. I can't remember if it's JBS or some other multi-billion pound dollar, etc. entity. So, they're trying to make it look all kind of like local and cozy. This is one of these places that used to employ loads and loads of Eastern European people on absolutely horrendous wages. I don't even know what they were. And now it's trying to rebrand itself, desperate to get the struggling Brits in. The Brits are most up against the wall, or anybody else that they can hoover in. So it's going to be going for people like, anybody that's struggling with the universal credit drop of £20 a week, which is happening now. Anybody obviously on low income, it's a massive sort of like rises in fuel facing fuel poverty. Some people are going to be struggling over the winter of like, do we feed ourselves and our families, or do we have the heating on? There'll be a lot of concern. So it's perfect timing. The fact that they don't have the workers, which is all to do with Brexit, um, and now they're trying to get people in, and they try and make it sound good. Flexible shifts, part-time work available. Yeah, if you can't stick killing animals and torturing them and being surrounded by blood. Actually, there's a little bit of dead bodies here on the bottom. I don't know if you can see it there. But you got the woman is still smiling. Her bloke is, you can't really see what the bloke is doing because his face is covered in a mask. But it doesn't really give a sense of, what's actually going on, and certainly not on the kill floor, and certainly not with the lorries and the screams of the pigs and the cows and whoever else. So they're trying to make it sound attractive. Flexible shifts, part-time work available. So maybe they're going for the mum sort of like demographic, who are taking their kids to school. No experience necessary. No, we'll train you how to murder animals, chop them up, rise above your own sort of feelings that maybe you can consider yourself an animal lover. But maybe you could be taught to squash that down because you're so desperate, absolutely so desperate for money that you don't have an option really. Help with transport. Well, that probably means some horrible little sort of like van going to all these sort of like places in the middle of nowhere where people are super desperate and scooping you up at the crack of dawn or some ungodly hour at night to make sure that you actually turn up at this hideous occupation. Discounted staff sales. That's basically saying, well, yeah, you can not even free, which you would have thought. I mean, given what the job involves, you would have thought it would be like basically as much animal body parts as you can eat, wouldn't you? I mean, it would seem legit, at the £9, £10 an hour. Given that this would mean a lot to people, I'm not advocating eating animals. I'm just saying from the perspective of, a multi-billion-pound entity. Discounted staff sales doesn't sound really good. Regular overtime. Yeah, so they're even more desperate to get people in. No agencies. Permanent contracts offered. So what it says, and I think this is something that, maybe some of the people that are here today might be interested in. It says call 0117 957 1919. 0117 957 1919. For an immediate start or find out more, visit www.pilgrimsuk.com/join us/vacancies. They want you to call them, don't they? They're saying call. Call. Here. Maybe that's something some vegans should think about doing. Maybe we should think about calling them, giving them a little chat. So I think what this really showed to me, I mean, we all know that the animal death industry is all about image management and trying to desperately pretend that, the animals love to be tortured to death, and how they're trying to show that, yeah, you too can be happy torturing animals to death and chopping up their bodies. I mean, can you believe it? Can you imagine if this was sort of like cats and dogs? People would be up in arms. You'd have people literally. This leaflet came through my door. You'd have people parading up and down the streets with banners saying, "No, this is outrageous." You want to chop up cats and dogs. You want to kill them. You want to torture them to death, gas them. One thing that has been making me just my blood boil is this stuff about I don't know if you've heard about it in the news recently, the carbon dioxide shortage, which is apparently something to do with like the price of fuel. The price of fuel in the UK is like skyrocketing. So we're all sort of like petrified, speaking personally, and I'm sure there are millions of us also, about what that will actually mean. Anyway, the skyrocketing price of fuel means that some American-owned biggest fertilizer companies have basically closed them down. And apparently one of the products of that is carbon dioxide, which is used in the animal death industry to, according to the media, stun animals. Stun animals. To stun animals. But really, if you're breathing breathing pure carbon dioxide, you're being suffocated. So you may end up kind of like passed out after you've been screaming, which is what happens to the pigs. We've all heard them screaming at the slaughterhouses if we're close enough to be there. But according to the media, it's used to stun them, which means that we're so kind because we really care about the animals that we choose to torture to death, use, and eat unnecessarily their body parts. So, remember what they say? They say call 0117 957 1919. 0117 957 1919. They want you to call them. It's weekend. I don't know. It's nearly weekend. Maybe they'll be up for calls all weekend. They sound quite desperate. Maybe they want people to make interview appointments and go along to the interviews and talk about things like torturing animals to death for no reason. What do you think? Anyway, thank you for your time and attention today. It's been really good. I've been away and I've really missed you guys, and it'd be really, really, really good to connect with you. Your thoughts? Have you had a flyer like this through your letterbox? What do you think about this? Do you think it accurately represents the animal death industry or not? Peace and love and lots of active campaigning to you. This is Pamela from Animal Justice Emergency. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you next time.